Welcome! In 2012, a 19-year-old from the UK named Ben, he started this company called Gymshark. It's now a large brand, you know about it, I know about it, and we're talking about it. So, why and how did this happen? Largely because of influencer marketing. They really nailed their influencer strategy back in those days, right? Back in 2013-14. But those strategies, those tactics have evolved over time and they're still applicable today. So I spent the last weekend studying Gymshark's influencer marketing efforts, and in this video, I'm going to share the 7 core fundamental things that they do that you can take away and implement tomorrow or today for your brand. So let's dive in. Tactic number 1, send out gifts to your favorite creators. Now, this is quite common nowadays, but when Ben influencer gifting, you send out free product to influencers, you call it seeding, whatever. I've made videos on it, but back when Ben was doing this back in 2013, 2014, it was not as common. So what he did was he was obviously into the fitness space. He used to follow all these fitness and diet and nutrition YouTubers. So what he did was he sent them free samples, right? And then those influencers mentioned Gymshark by just wearing the apparel in their content, and that's how Gymshark's influencer program really got its start. So now, what should you do if you are in another industry or even in the fitness industry? Send out your products as free samples to influencers in the space, and then just start off relationships with them. Too many brands focus on getting the post after sending free product. That is not the best way to do it. Your goal at this stage should just be to spark conversations, build relationships, and see if they're open to posting. If they are, then you can work out an incentive model on how they can post. You make them affiliate, maybe they just post for the free product, maybe you pay them for the post. That's separate. The fundamental tactic here really is that you're sending free product to influencers so that you get awareness among those influencers and potentially among their audiences if they like your product. So tactic number 1, which you can do literally today, you can literally post a story on your Instagram saying, hey, do you have more than 2,000 followers? We want to collab with you. Bunch of people are going to DM you, or just use something like a SARAL to find these influencers, reach out to them and send them free product. That's tactic number 1. Tactic number 2 is really powerful, and this tactic transcends time, right? You can do it anytime. Gymshark did it about a decade ago, but you can implement this now. And that tactic is giving your creators an identity. Now, so many brands still call their creators affiliates or influencers or some sort of a generic word like that. Understand that these creators are brand advocates, they are ambassadors, they rep your brand, right? So you need to give them a true unique identity. The word ambassador is a really good place to start because conventionally brands used to have celebrity ambassadors, so it still has this little bit of a more prestigious position than affiliate, which is generally also associated with shady characters. So let's not call them affiliates, right? Do not call them affiliates, call them ambassadors as a baseline. But what I recommend is look at Gymshark, right? They give their ambassadors a very unique name. They call them athletes, right? Why? Because that's what they identify with anyway. Even if Gymshark did not exist, those people who are currently repping Gymshark would identify with the word athlete, right? Similarly, there are your customers who identify with something. Maybe they're moms, maybe they're students, maybe they're something, right? So give them a name that they identify with, that they can stand for. It almost goes beyond the brand at that point. So make sure that you're giving your ambassadors a very unique name that is tailor-made for your particular brand. And this gives them an excuse to also post, because imagine if you just send them a free product, and then on the other hand, if you send them a free product while calling them a Gymshark athlete, they're more likely to post because they are now a Gymshark athlete or they're now a brand name ambassador. So hey, if I'm an ambassador for this mouse brand and they send me a mouse, if it's just a free mouse, I'm probably not going to post about it. But if I'm mouse ambassador, I'm probably going to post about it because I'm I now have this identity, I have this label, so I need to behave in accordance with that label. So give your creators an identity. Tactic number 3 is really useful because you can start doing it today. That is to reuse your creator generated content as organic content on your socials. Now, you don't necessarily need usage rights permissions for this, as long as you're tagging them in the caption and thanking them for the content and maybe even appreciating them for being an ambassador for your brand. But this is crucial because this helps build trust in your brand more than static images of your product or really well shot commercials ever will. This is organic content created by your customers or your ambassadors or the users and the consumers of your product. It is more trustworthy. So definitely reuse your creator generated content as organic content on your social. Gymshark is a master at this. They've been doing this forever and you should do it too. Tactic number 4 is a little bit advanced, but I recommend you do this if you're at the stage where you can. And one of our smaller brands, Josu, also does this. So it's not necessarily you need to be a large brand as Gymshark to do this. You could be a relatively newer or smaller company and still do this. And that tactic is to collaborate with creators on making product lines that are creator specific. So these creators, they're not just like influencers, right? They are experts in their industry. If somebody is making diet related content or fitness related content or mental health related content online, very likely they know that space. And you can obviously do your own vetting in terms of how much they know, how much of an expert they are. But most likely people who follow them don't necessarily follow them for entertainment, right? They're following them for maybe edutainment, maybe actual education where they get to learn from these creators. So people basically look up to these creators. So if you're able to collaborate with them and if they're able to launch their own product line through your brand, they're going to be in love with you and you're going to be in love with them, because they're going to just constantly keep promoting you, because obviously there's skin in the game. And there's, you can work out some sort of an equity deal or rev share or some sort of a thing like that with them. But if you are at the stage where you can do this, and you'll probably be at the stage when you've seeded product to a few hundred creators and like this, you'll find that there are a couple of creators that are really, really good. I recommend you hop on calls with them and you figure out a deeper way to work together. Creators really appreciate this because they're tired of brands that are just sending free product and not doing anything after that. So if you're able to do deeper collaborations with a handful of your creators and maybe launch a product line with them, do something special for their audience, it'll really, really take you a long way. Tactic number 5 is to explore beyond Instagram and TikTok, right? Most brands tend to be stuck on these platforms, and they're great platforms to start, don't get me wrong, but you should also diversify into YouTube potentially, because YouTube has SEO value, and we did a whole video breaking down different platforms. But always diversify beyond your initial platform, which is very likely going to be Instagram or TikTok. That's what Gymshark did. They were on YouTube always, they diversified into Instagram, they went on to TikTok when TikTok became a thing. Not just that, they did not stop there, and this is the core part of the lesson. Your customers are not just on social media, they're not just on TikTok. In Gymshark's case, they're also on Spotify, right? They're listening to podcasts, they're listening to songs when they're working out. So Gymshark has made playlists on Spotify which are creator themed, right? So they're creators who have their own playlists on Shopify co-branded with Gymshark, right? You can just search for Gymshark on Shopify and you'll find those, right? So Gymshark has identified where their customers are and they are on those platforms. Again, if you look back at a couple videos ago where I broke these platforms down on like which platform to pick, the fundamental rule that I shared was go where your customers are. So are your customers listening to podcasts on Spotify? Maybe you could collaborate with some podcasts. Maybe you could make some playlists on Spotify. Maybe you could do something on podcasting platforms or audio only platforms. Maybe let's say you're a nutrition product and they're listening to Andrew Huberman's podcast or similar podcasts, or they're consuming certain health related newsletters or magazines. Where can you be that your customers are? Diversify beyond social media, because influence is not specific or restricted to social media. So look at diversifying beyond your initial few platforms. Tactic number 6 is to give your creators a chance to be the face of your brand. How do you do that? This goes beyond just the organic social reposting that I mentioned a couple points ago. What this means is to truly give them a chance to rep the brand themselves independently of you, maybe even, right? So what can you do beyond just sending them a free product, beyond asking them to sell your product? What can you do from think of it like a brand, not as a product, right? What can you do beyond just that? Can you host live sessions with them? Can you give away something to their audience, right? Can you think about like a very creative way to work with them? There's different ways, it depends on the brand, but give them a chance to be a face for you. And this is exactly what Gymshark does. They have different types of collabs. Just go on their Instagram and you'll see different types of collabs with influencers. Very deep collabs. Can you throw an event for them? Can you do a webinar? Can you put them in a WhatsApp or a Slack group or a community of some sort and just like encourage collaborations? How can you give your creators a chance to get more out of you? How can you give them a chance to be the face for the brand beyond just regular collaborations? Think about it. And when you have this community, you become unbeatable, because as a smaller, newer brand, you may not have the budget to hire a large celebrity or a model or to do photo shoots. But if you have a community of creators, they're going to do the photo shoots for you. And if you have this giving mentality and give them chances to be faces of your brand and do events for them, do something that goes just beyond simple transactional type collaborations, it's going to be really, really helpful. So give your creators a chance to go beyond just regular collaborations and make them the faces of your brand. Tactic number 7 is building, maintaining, and nurturing your relationships with creators. As a brand, this is where you would fall off. This is where you need to be careful, because this is what separates the good brands from the great brands, right? The great brands, such as the Gymsharks, the legacy brands, they maintain their creator relationships very, very diligently. They're on top of their creator relationships. They're always figuring out ways to collaborate with creators beyond just social media, beyond just looking for that immediate kind of get my sales mentality. So build relationships with creators. This is super critical. Add them to a community, give them opportunities to collaborate with you beyond just monetary transactions, and focus on the long term, which is what, again, I think I touched upon something similar in the earlier points, is to make sure that if you're sending free product, don't send it with the expectation information that they're going to post, send it with the expectation of starting off a good relationship with these creators, having a great conversation with them, and figuring out if you can work together right now or work together later. You can always have them in your SARAL, create a relationship management board, and you can reach out to them later. You can create a task and reach out to them later, but always have a relationship first mindset to these things. In the long term, these are the brands that win. And Gymshark, throughout their content, throughout everything that they do, throughout it reflects in everything that they do, in the way that they share the content of their creators, the type of collaborations that they do. They're really thinking about their creators almost as much as they're thinking about their customers, and they are making them feel valued and appreciated and building a nice long-term relationship with their creators. So that is the final tactic number 7. Now, if you want to build your influencer program the right way, you should check out SARAL. It's a free trial. It has this nice creator relationship management system that you can use. You can find untapped influencers. You can actually find influencers that promote Gymshark or any of your competitors through the app. It's really interesting. You should check it out. It's a 7-day free trial. I'll leave a link in the description. Over 200 brands have joined us, and they have built very successful influencer programs that are profitable, that are making them sales and building relationships at the same time. So if you want to check it out, there's a link in the description. I hope that this breakdown of Gymshark's influencer marketing strategy was helpful for you and that you liked this video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you have any questions, leave a comment. I'm happy to answer. And as always, I will see you next week. Bye bye.